CD Projekt Red Group Q1 2025 earnings. It's happened, my friends. It's happened. The quarter ended. The executive leadership over at CDPR shared their earnings call, or they shared their earnings and talked about their broader company strategies. They shared some promotional stuff, updated us on dev times and progress on recent projects, all sorts of interesting stuff, which I'm going to share with you today because this happened like an hour ago, which is always fun to see. One of the reasons I also like these from CDPR is because a lot of other companies, like you listen to an earnings call from EA or Take-Two Interactive, and it's like pulling teeth sometimes. It's like, we're really excited to announce that our EBITDA is going up by 2.5% quarterly, and year over year, our attach rate on mobile game spending has gone up by 7%. Like, it's so boring. It's so boring. But with the CDPR ones, not only do they invest in high quality graphics, which I appreciate, but also because they share some fun little tidbits that we can look at and run with and infer a bunch of stuff from, as you will see. So first things first, they of course have to shout out the Switch 2 port of Cyberpunk 2077 coming on launch day, June 5th. Apparently this isn't even that profitable on the physical copy side because the cards that the game has to go on are so expensive. It's actually very, very little profit margin for the physical copies of the game, despite, being so expensive to begin with. But if you buy digitally, I'm sure they're making a hefty profit. I've not seen this myself, the port in like person. I've not ever held a Switch 2 and I don't plan on owning one anytime soon. I'm not buying one at launch. So I'm not super sure how well it runs, but what I have heard from people who have seen it, like we talked to Jor got his hands on one at a preview thing for Nintendo, and he said it actually is a very, very impressive port. It runs shockingly well and looks very, very good as well. So make of that what you will. It seems to be a decent port. They also announced Phantom Liberty. The expansion for Cyberpunk has hit 10 million copies sold as of May 28th, 2025. That's crazy. 10 million copies for an expansion. And that is after Cyberpunk 2077. I think it's done, 30 million? So a 33% attach rate on a big expansion like that, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. That's pretty damn good. And I'm glad to see it because Phantom Liberty is the expansion that for me, gave me confidence in The Witcher 4. Like prior to that, I wasn't really sure what they were going to do. It was like, maybe it ends up being amazing. Maybe it ends up being a broken mess like Cyberpunk 2077 again. Like who knows? But seeing Phantom Liberty be so good, so ambitious, so cinematic and everything, it really gave me confidence that they could pull it off again with The Witcher 4. So if you've not played Phantom Liberty, you should. They also announced that Cyberpunk 2, whatever they end up calling it, right now they're just calling it 2, has entered the pre-production phase. So it's out of the concept phase and it's entering pre-production. Now, pre-production is kind of a broad term in game design. It can mean a lot. It honestly kind of, from what I've seen talking to devs, it depends a lot on company internal definitions of pre-production, because some companies, they refer to pre-production as like, oh, we do a lot of the script writing. We might do some explorative things with like gameplay systems, but we're not doing like anything really active. We're keeping it very, very broad, just running ideas around, which other companies, they define that as like the ideation phase or the exploration phase. So who knows exactly what this is, but it does mean things are moving forward at a steady pace. Most likely, I believe in that GDC talk about Phantom Liberty, they described pre-production, and this is when they're doing a lot of the gameplay systems building. They're doing a lot of the systems building. They're doing a lot of things like building basically all the tools that then level designers, quest designers can then use to plop things in the world. They build assets during this time. They do storyboarding. They do a lot of like the broader narrative. They might not be writing like NPC dialogue for when you're walking around the city, but they're coming up with the story. They're setting all of that up, figuring out where you're going to go, what the big set pieces are, all of that. It's basically when you are outlining the book before you go and fill out the outline with all the the broader stuff. So at the end of the pre-production phase, you should know what game you're making, basically. They also, celebrated 10 years of The Witcher 3, which is amazing. And they also announced they have hit 60 million copies sold. That's insane. That's straight up silly. 60 million copies sold. Tell you what, it's well deserved. Well deserved. This also, as you can see here, base game and game of the year version, not including expansions, sold separately. Golly. These ain't no NVIDIA numbers where they don't mean anything. 60 million actual copies sold. That's absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. They announced 2.4 billion revenue. They also, this is the chart that's most exciting and interesting to me though. Development teams engaged in ongoing projects, okay? So they update this every quarter, they showcase it. We looked at this chart back in February when they dropped it. Back February 28th, they had 411 people working on The Witcher 4. They had 84 people working on the next Cyberpunk game. Okay. They had 49 people working on Project Sirius. Project Hadar went from 17, it's now up to 19. Shared services, which they actually have an asterisk on it. It's localization, quality assurance, data, insights and experiences, and AI. Okay. And then that went up by 6 people. And then you can see other projects with 2 asterisks. What does this mean? Including unannounced projects developed internally or by third parties. The number of third-party developers included or involved is not included in this count. Ooh, other unannounced projects. Okay. Insights and experience. I'm guessing a lot of this. So they have development teams listed. And so I see you asking about GOG and that. I believe they separate that out as a separate team. They don't consider that necessarily developers. It's like a separate part of the company. I believe they might be including like experiences, insights and experiences as part of that. But I don't know. I would guess it's a separate thing. But they are saying they've gone up 23 new roles. They've gone up to 730 devs. 400 are working on The Witcher 4, though. And they are steadily increasing the number of people working on the next Cyberpunk game as well. And again, this does not include people working on outside projects, such as the remake of The Witcher 1, which is being headed up by the team that did the Thaumaturge. And so that's not, I don't believe, included in these numbers either. As for financial results, again, this is all in their local currency, PLN. The conversion rate, it's PLN to USD. 1 Zvolte, I believe is how you pronounce it, is roughly a quarter. It's 27 cents. So yeah, it's, you just cut all this down to a quarter and you can translate it. But in terms of broader trends and strokes, the takeaway is that CDPR, for having not released anything the last few years, is actually doing quite well. It's actually doing quite well. They actually last year, I think, had the best year they've ever had for not releasing a major product during that time, which is good. That's what you would hope to hear. And it shows that they are continuing to bring in money from The Witcher, from Cyberpunk, and all of these. It's also, this is one thing I think people can often forget, is that these games are not, like, we play them because we're hardcore gamers, dab on the haters. Like, we play games a lot, we're very involved, but a lot of people, they jump into these games a year, 2 years, 3 years after launch. And so it's like, just because we played it at launch, we thought about it a lot at that time, and then we moved on, that doesn't mean that those games stop generating revenue. Games like The Witcher 3, Cyberpunk, The Witcher 2, Witcher 1, all those expansions, they continue generating crazy amounts of money all, like, years and years later. It really does. Cyberpunk 2077 and the expansion in Q1 of 2025 generated 143,000, or in this case, thousand, so 143 million Polish Zloty, which translates to, tens of millions of dollars US, 30, 40 million or whatever. Still generating crazy money. Witcher 3 and all of its stuff, less so, but it's also because it's a much older game on steep discounts. And this is why, companies, again, people will be like, how do big companies like a Ubisoft have 20,000 employees? It's because, again, like those games continue to sell like gangbusters years and years and years after launch. People still go back. I mean, still GTA 5 is still at the top of these charts years later. It's still always like in the top 10 most sold games of every month on Steam. Like, it's insane, but that's just because these games have legs, as it's called. You can see they mention GOG stats, and they announce year-over-year changes from quarter to quarter. And overall, the company's really, really healthy. You can see net profitability. Oh, baby. Oh, look at those margins. Oh, baby. As for deferred taxable assets, property, plant, equipment, investment properties, and stuff, they continue to invest significantly in future projects and things. They've continued new development amortization during these, so they're financing a good amount of stuff. But overall, I mean, they're very capably run. Research, development, product maintenance costs. So development expenditures, new products, assets capitalized. So the blue section is what they're spending on development. Green is research. Yellow is maintenance on things that have already released. So that might be, patches, updates, things like that. But you can see it's just, they're steadily turning the dial up, spending more and more and more, going deeper and deeper. And this is going to continue going up pretty much right before The Witcher 4. And then it's going to get dialed up even more probably as they continue to grow into the next Cyberpunk game. Changes in cash, deposits, and bonds. Bonds are something companies use to raise money from investors, like corporate bonds and stuff. It's a pretty standard way of doing it, in addition to like stock issuances and things like that. Cash, deposits, all self-explanatory. Board recommendation concerning dividend payouts. Dividends are one of the ways you can signal to investors that you're doing well. It's one of the ways that they do that is just to be like, yeah, we have so much extra money. We're making so much money that we can give it back to you. We can give it to investors. And there's some companies that make really, are really generous, like Coca-Cola. I think they pay out like a solid, every quarter they pay out like 50 cents per share. It's not like insane for the yield that you're actually getting out of it, but they do quite well. It's not always just about the stock price going up. It's also about the dividend that you're receiving on the back end. But dividends are like a common way of just signaling confidence in your product that, hey, we're going to keep doing well no matter what. And they are recommending a dividend payout of 1 Polish zloty per share, which is actually not bad. Not bad. So they're doing well. They're very excited about all of this. They're putting a lot of eggs in the basket of The Witcher and Cyberpunk, as they should. The results kind of speak for themselves in terms of the revenue that's being generated even now, years after the fact. But yeah, they're working their butts off. They're working their butts off. Realistically, I think we see The Witcher 3 or Witcher 4 still probably like 2027. That's my guess. I think the odds are pretty high. It launches damn close to Elder Scrolls 6. I think they're lining up to launch right around the same time. And after that, the sequel to Cyberpunk, they are saying that they are making progress and their hope is to release much closer together. We'll see. I'm not sure what that looks like. I mean, if that means that they can get it out 2029, 2030, that'd be great. But, time will tell. Time will tell. Do you think we see multiplayer with Cyberpunk 2 like one was supposed to have? I have a feeling. Yeah, I think we're going to see a lot of stuff like that. I have a feeling Cyberpunk's sequel will basically be everything that they initially promised and wanted to do, and they're just going to make sure to get it right this time because they fixed a lot of their structural issues, allegedly. But it's looking good. The company's healthy. The company is showing all the right signs. It's what you want to see. So, yeah, everything's good. He took my thing.